Broadcasting across California, California's only statewide political show. You're watching The Issue Is.
And welcome to The Issue Is on a historic week here in California. I'm Elex Michaelson, and we've got a guest in the house for the first time in studio is Kevin Faulconer, the former mayor of San Diego, now one of the top candidates running against Governor Newsom in the recall election. Mr. Mayor, welcome in studio for the first time.
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
We appreciate, this is a big week in California. June 15th is sort of the reopening for many parts of the economy. We saw Governor Newsom out with trolls, out on roller coasters. He was making pizza this week, all sorts of activities. Is there, what do you make of all of this, and is there reason to celebrate?
Well, look, I don't think what Californians are looking for is a circus mentality. I think, when it comes to overcoming COVID-19, it's not just about reopening. I think it's about reforming and rebuilding. And that's why I'm focused a lot on particularly the rebuilding of our state, the rebuilding of our small businesses. And, as we look at what happened with this governor's unscientific lockdowns, how that really devastated our small businesses is just one example. It's time to rebuild. It's time to be serious. That's why we're putting forward a lot of serious policy reforms that I think Californians of all persuasion, all walks of life, all party, affiliation, they want to change at the top.
So when you say rebuild, what exactly do you mean? What does that look like from a policy perspective?
Well, it's starting to rebuild our economy, right? It's starting to make sure that we're giving our small businesses the help and the support that they need. It's time to actually ensure that our public schools are fully reopened, which they haven't been. And I think that's been a real travesty for every parent in California that our private schools have been open. Why? Because those schools, report to parents, but yet our public schools that ultimately report to the governor have not remained fully open. We have to change that.
But aren't all the schools set to fully reopen in the fall?
Well, we'll see. They should have been open this last semester. And I think, and Alex, I say this not just as a candidate for governor, but as a dad with two kids in public school who realizes that there's no substitute for a teacher in the classroom rather than Zoom. Our kids should have been in school this last semester.
Let's talk about the biggest issue for so many people. It was the biggest issue before COVID, the biggest issue after COVID, which is homelessness in California. Your governor tomorrow, executive order number 1 is what?
Oh, we have to get people off the sidewalks. As mayor of San Diego, I did not allow tent encampments in San Diego. We were the only big city where we actually reduced homelessness by double digits. I fundamentally believe that every human being has a right to shelter. I also believe that when we provide that shelter, they have an obligation to use it. I enforced that obligation in San Diego. And so we have to take that same approach, and I will as governor. And the reason I feel so strongly about this is because if you allow tent encampments on a sidewalk, you're condemning people to die on our sidewalks. We're better than that as Californians. We proved in San Diego that we could do it. Again, actually reducing homeless. We have to take that same compassionate yet firm approach statewide. This governor isn't doing it. I will.
Yeah, and San Diego was one of the only places where we did see a reduction in homelessness. But so how do you actually do that? Is that going to be a mandate from you as governor that there's no more encampments allowed in the state legally? Can you even do that?
I will absolutely put forward legislation, again, that says that you have to provide shelter and then have the obligation to enforce that. And again, that is something that I think folks from all walks of life of California want to see. And we provided a shelter network in San Diego. I picked the locations as mayor, and I made a deal with the community. I said it's going to be cleaner and safer in this neighborhood with this shelter than before it was there. And I felt so strongly about that I created a new division within the San Diego Police Department, Neighborhood Policing Division, that really helped enforce our quality of life. We need to do that in every city in California.
But we have seen pushback in different places, and there are a lot of places that are a lot more liberal on homelessness than San Diego was. And if some of these places say you're criminalizing homelessness, we don't agree with that, we don't want to do that, what do you do if you're governor?
Well, some folks said that when we started what we did in San Diego. And I think we've proven that wrong. Again, why? Because we care about people enough not to let them die in unsafe, unclean, unsanitary tent encampments on our sidewalks. I did not allow those in San Diego. And when people saw the difference, when they saw people not only go into the shelter, but then getting that help and the support to get that apartment of their own, you can throw all the money in the world at this issue. But if you don't have the political will to make a difference, It's not going to change.
Well, and speaking of the political will, though, if you come in and you're governor of California, you're going to have a Democratic supermajority who are probably not going to want to see you succeed. You're not going to have a term for very long, like potentially less than a year. And so they might just sit on their hands and say, we don't want to work with this guy. We're going to be able to get our own guy in a few months. What do you do in that scenario? How do you pass the legislation on homelessness in that scenario?
I've had a lot of experience dealing with that. Look, as somebody who's, proud Republican who, got elected twice in a deep blue city in a deep blue state. Why? Because my philosophy, my governing style is to bring people together on common sense. And even if you disagree with somebody, if you treat people with dignity and respect, and you can go out and win that argument publicly, then you can win the vote. I did that with the majority Democrat city council my entire tenure as mayor of San Diego. And so I'm going to take that exact common sense approach, taking these issues directly to the public who want to see this change. Because as we've seen, particularly during the pandemic, homelessness is exploding in virtually every city in California. We had the right solution in San Diego. I'm going to take that statewide and be firm about it.
You are putting out a lot of policies, unlike some other people that are running, and one of them that got the most attention has to do with taxes. We'll put this up on the screen. Your idea is to eliminate the state income tax for individuals making $50,000 or less, households making $100,000 or less. If you do that, what do you cut in order to pay for that?
Well, the fact of the matter is we have a $75 billion budget surplus now, and that's part of the problem. And people are voting with their feet. They're leaving California, and you name the state where folks are going because our state is too expensive. And so what I'm talking about is real, lasting tax relief for the middle class in California who needs it. It's going to make a huge difference. This is not about a one-time stimulus check. This is about real relief for real California families.
And you're confident that the Democratic supermajority is going to pass that plan?
I'm absolutely confident it's the right thing to do. And I'm confident that Democrats, Republicans, and independents believe, like I do, that if we don't lower the cost to actually live in California, we're going to continue to see an exodus of folks who want to stay here, but the policies that are coming out of Sacramento make it too, you can't afford it. And so that, and you name the state where folks are going, right? Texas, Florida, Utah, Nevada, Tennessee. People are voting with their feet. We need to change that.
Although we did see, year over year, 10 years in terms of the census, that we did have growth in California. There were some people that left last year, which was the first year that we saw that.
Yeah, you're right. And we lost population last year. And, of course, we lost a congressional seat to other states of the nation.
Because other states had more growth than we did. We still had growth. They just had more growth than we did.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I think that that's a real factor of why when you look at our tax system in California, you look at the highest gas taxes, we can go on down the list. If we don't change that, if we do not make it, more affordable to live in California, folks aren't going to do that.
I mean, the governor's team would say that the economic forecast in California is really good right now. They'll point to like the UCLA forecast, which shows that we're going to have our best year that we've ever had. They'll point to the Bloomberg did a story this week saying that we have the #1 economy in the country. They're out with a new ad from the Newsom team fighting back against the recall. Their first campaign commercial. It just is airing this week. I want to play it and then have you respond.
Governor Gavin Newsom has California roaring back. What does that mean for you? Newsom is delivering money to your pocket, plus an extra $500 for families with kids. $4 billion straight to small businesses through the nation's largest grant program. Cleaning up our streets and getting 65,000 homeless Californians into housing. And free pre-K for every California child, regardless of income. Governor Newsom is just getting started, and so is our California comeback.
When you see that, what's your response?
Well, I think that ad talks about a lot of issues that the governor isn't addressing, that he should address. And in fact, that our campaign, I think, is getting the momentum that we are because we're taking it head on, because we actually have a real plan for homelessness. The fact that we're saying we're going to insist that our schools are going to reopen. And something that I also feel very strongly about is safe neighborhoods and public safety. I did not defund the police as mayor of San Diego. I actually increased the budget. And I think rising crime in our state is a real issue that the next governor has to understand and get a hold of.
But the governor hasn't defunded the police either in terms of statewide.
Well, he's certainly supported so many mayors that have done exactly that. And I will tell you, I had hundreds of protesters out in front of my house this past summer yelling at me and my family every name of the book and defund the police. It only strengthened my resolve to do the right thing and to make sure that we had safe neighborhoods. We increased the budget, and I got that passed by supermajority Democrat city council.
The governor's team would say that California has among the lowest COVID-19 positivity rates in the country, some of the best economic growth in the country. Does he deserve credit for that?
We all want California to do well. We want our economy to grow. And I think there's a stark difference between my approach, what I did particularly as mayor of San Diego, which is supporting our small businesses, which are the backbone of our economy in California. And I stressed during the pandemic as mayor, we have to save lives. And we also have to save livelihoods. And I think that when you look at the open and close and shut and the changing, the metrics that this governor continue to change, that took a tremendous toll on our family-owned small businesses, many of whom, didn't make it through. And that's where we have to put our focus.
So how do you win this thing? California, still a lot more Democrats than Republicans in this state. Not huge name identification. You're not a well-known celebrity. You don't have, hundreds of millions of dollars of personal wealth to spend on ad campaigns. How do you pull this off?
Doing it just like this. Been talking to folks like yourself and viewers that care about the future direction of our state. And knowing that somebody who got elected twice in San Diego, again, who can bring Republicans and Democrats together on real issues. And that's what this campaign is all about, because we are providing those solutions. And I think that that's what Californians want to see right now, because all the issues that we're talking about today, people are clamoring for leadership. It's not about partisanship, Republican or Democrat. It's about, do you have the political will and the conviction to roll up your sleeves and actually do the right thing?
So almost every single time that I tweet about you, or almost any journalist tweets about you, the governor's campaign manager, Ace Smith, tweets out a photo of you and President Trump. This is when you were at the White House doing official business as mayor of San Diego, talking to him about San Diego issues. But clearly, this is the way that the Newsom team is going to go after you. They do it every day. So let's just clear up a few things on the Trump front.
Yeah.
Did you vote for Donald Trump in 2020?
I did.
Yeah,
and I felt strongly about it because of the, of the economy. And, you can put up photos. There's photos of me and President Trump. There's photos of me and President Obama. And as you rightfully point out, my reputation is the guy that actually works, gets stuff done among Democrats and Republicans. And that's why I stress so much that this really isn't about, partisanship. It's about leadership and somebody who can get it done.
After what you saw on January 6th, did you regret supporting President Trump?
No, I supported, and my vote was based upon what I thought was best for the economy, and I think that still holds true today.
And would you say, other people might say, all that other stuff was more important than that? Some of the stuff he said, they call him racist, they call other things.
Yeah, and you're going to have all of the back and forth on the national level every day. I think what Californians are looking for is somebody who can come in and actually solve the issues that we're dealing with, not worrying about national rhetoric, but a guy that actually got it done in the second largest city in this state, who I said brought people together, and I think most importantly, actually got results, because that's what we're lacking right now out of this governor in Sacramento.
So after what you saw on January 6th, if he ran again in 2024, would you support him?
I have no idea who I'm going to support in 2024.
All right.
So
another hypothetical, though, that does matter to folks as they're coming up with the decision. If Dianne Feinstein were to retire next year and you were the governor, the control of the United States Senate would be up to you. If you picked a Republican, Mitch McConnell would become majority leader. If you picked a Democrat, Chuck Schumer stays as majority leader. Who do you pick in that scenario?
Look, a lot of hypotheticals, but I will tell you exactly who I'd pick. With the man or woman who's the most qualified to represent our state. And that's always been my approach as mayor in governing our city. And I think that's what I will look through, as this state, because as you know, when you come in and you're governor, you bring in an administration. And I'm going to bring in some of the best and brightest men and women who want to get our state back on track. Again, who aren't worried about partisanship, but are really worried about making a difference in California.
Well, the party affiliation in the Senate determines control in a lot of different things. What would you say to somebody who says the most qualified person to represent this state that voted for 2 Democratic senators would be a Democrat?
Look, as I said before, my focus is always going to do what I believe is right for California, and I have no doubt that we'll do that.
Okay, we like to play some games on this show.
Yeah.
One's called the name game, which you've played before. This is a short word or very short phrase to describe. These are people that you are running against in the recall election. All right, so first one, Governor Newsom.
Incompetent.
John Cox.
Unwinnable.
Doug Osee.
Really straightforward guy.
And Caitlyn Jenner?
New.
New. Okay. Very nice. We also like to have fun on this show. So I hear that you're a big fan of Van Halen. So we're going to have more with you after this, but we're going to break with a little Panama. This is where you get to rock out. Here we go. And more with Kevin Faulconer when we return. You're watching The Issue Is. I love that. Did you have hair like that?
I had hair.
All right, so this is a picture of our guest, Kevin Faulconer, with his daughter, who just graduated from high school. Congratulations to that. Of course, Kevin Faulconer, former mayor of San Diego, running for governor of California.
Proud papa. There.
Yeah, I mean,
very great day for us.
What did that moment mean for you, and how has it been as a dad and for your family in this extraordinary year when it comes to education?
No, it's an emotional day. I mean, and all of the, because we always, we remember back when we were kids, and what Lauren had to overcome this year in COVID, doing school from the house and the kitchen table, and as I said earlier. There's no substitute for a great teacher in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And so, again, I come to this perspective of education, not just as I said, a candidate, but as a father. And I think so many parents across our great state are so eager for our public schools to be fully reopened, and I will fight for that.
And one of the big challenges for whoever is governor, even as the schools start to open up, is the education loss of this last year.
It is.
I mean, so many kids suffered because of Zoom and did not learn the way that they usually would. What do you do about that?
You're right, first of all. That's a very real issue. And, some school districts are talking about, increased summer school, increased opportunities in the fall. But, Elex, I will tell you, I think, yes, on the learning loss, but the other big issues, all the mental health issues, and all, you worry about the socialization issues that so many kids didn't get. And again, that I think the fact that, this governor kept our schools locked down, the most of any state in the nation was a travesty. And that's why I feel so strongly that our kids, our teachers who are doing a great job need to be in the classroom, because I think that makes all the difference in the world.
He would say that he didn't have a lot of power in all of that most of those decisions were up to local school districts. He was trying to incentivize them, but it's up to them. How specifically would you have done that differently if you're governor?
Of course the governor has extraordinary powers if you choose to use them. We saw how the governor chose to use them in shutting down businesses, etc. The governor could have absolutely opened our public schools. Again, private schools were open all across our state. In fact, I kicked off my campaign in front of a closed public school here in Los Angeles, and right across the street was an open private school. That's not right. It's not fair. And I think most Californians would agree with me.
All right. We also like to have a little bit of fun on this show as we get to know our candidates as well. This is a game called Personal Issues. So we put 30 seconds on the clock and we get to know some of your favorites. So here we go. We ready?
Yeah.
Your favorite band?
Van Halen, all time. You just played it.
Yeah. Favorite book?
I don't know if I have one favorite, but I just finished a great biography on Winston Churchill called The Last Lion.
Love it. Best thing about being a Californian?
I don't know. Carne asada burrito with extra guac.
Excellent.
And if you're in the right place, margarita with rocks and salt.
What a San Diego answer. Favorite athlete?
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that here in LA?
There's a Padre fan. That's okay. And favorite quote or motto?
I think it's let's roll up our sleeves and get it done.
Yeah. By the way, I got to give San Diego credit. I think you do have the best Mexican food of anywhere, anywhere in California.
No argument here. It's the former mayor.
Yeah. Well, it is great having you.
Thank you.
I think this is a week also that a lot of people are starting to feel better, and some of the COVID restrictions are going away. So as we leave you, we're playing Happy by Pharrell.
Very good.
Because I'm ready to clap along and be done with some of this, and having you in person is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin Faulconer. The team from Politico. When we come back, you're watching The Issue Is. I love those dance moves. Very nice.